This episode is brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. Learn more at slashandcast.net.
There are legends around here.
Who died in Mage, you fucking king of the zombies?
Even if only in their own minds. Forgotten, but not yet dead.
I want to play a game.
Some have tried to stop them, but they keep coming back.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Coming to entertain you. They are the Crystal Lake Soldiers.
Welcome back to the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. My name's Isaiah, joined tonight by Mark and Ted. How are you guys doing this weekend?
Not bad, pretty good.
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Well, we are finishing up our month-long look at kind of different collectibles and stuff that you can buy as a horror fan. We're going to be finishing off with video games, which is something we know and love quite a bit. I mean, obviously, we all met on Friday the 13th, the game, so very well-versed in horror video games, that's for sure. Before we get into all that, though, what have you guys been up to this week?
Just working. And now that I got a week off, I'm going to relax and enjoy it. And I've been watching The Boys, finally.
Nice.
Which is a pretty cool show. I really like the story.
Yeah, I haven't started that yet, but I will at some point. Got a lot of shit on their plate to watch.
Yeah, that's for sure. I hear that.
Just been working. We've been following this. It feels like we're living like an actual real life version of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jingle All the Way, but instead of the Turbo Man, it's the PlayStation 5, and everybody fucking wants one.
Yes.
So we've been trying to get one of those. Last night, or I guess it was really, really early this morning, it was Kohl's released them on their website, and I guess they had just been living under the rock and didn't know what was going on, and they oversold like a motherfucker.
Oh, Jesus.
So Jennifer ended up getting one, and her mom ended up getting one too because they were both trying, and they both got canceled. Like the orders were received, the money came out of their bank and everything, and then they got an email this morning that Kohl's canceled their order because they oversold, and they've been doing that to a lot of people, and this is really frustrating.
Yeah, Sony really biffed it with this whole thing with the PS5, honestly.
No, I think they know exactly what they're doing, man. I think they're just trying to build hype on it.
Yep.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it's really hurting the consumer, too. I mean,
they've done way better than Xbox has. Xbox, even if you can get one now, they're saying you're not even going to get it until after Christmas, even if you're lucky enough to buy it.
Jesus.
Yeah, so they've done better than Xbox, that's for sure.
Both these companies, I swear to God.
And Sony's been releasing them, and they've been smart. They've been like doing like an online queue, so you have to wait in the queue to order it. And so if you're a bot, you can't go in and buy 40 of them. You only be in the queue to buy one or whatever. So I mean, they've been trying, and I don't know. In all reality, we probably won't get one till after Christmas, but we're gonna try again.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to try and get one for a while. Because I figured, it's going to have some issues with it at the beginning, like most machines do.
Yeah.
It'd just be easier. Plus, I mean, I really don't see any games that I really am interested in for launch for the PS5 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple for me, but we're gonna have both consoles, and I understand why a lot of people say that they're gonna wait for like a later release or maybe a pro version or something. But we both have one, so we have two PS4s in the house, and they're both launch issues, so we haven't upgraded it or anything. So it's really not that big of. I think it's appropriate to get the 5 for us because we'll probably keep. I mean, it'll come with the warranty, so if it does like a hardware issue, we get it fixed. But I don't know. I want Demon Souls. That game looks great. I don't know if I want it for $70, but I really do want it. Spider-Man Miles Morales looks good, but I'll probably wait for that to drop too, just because it's such a short game.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend that much on that short of a game, especially if it's only like 10 hours to beat it.
No, and I mean it comes with. I mean, if you buy the $60 one, it comes with the remaster for Spider-Man, which is cool, but I don't need it because I already have the game.
Right.
And I mean, it's just a flavor thing. It don't matter if you like it or not. It doesn't change the game, but they changed the actor, and it really bothers me. I really like that look of Peter Parker in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hear that. Yeah, I've kind of given up on getting the PS5 at this point. I'm just kind of over it now.
Especially when you waited like all that time outside of GameStop, and then you were the person in front of you got the last one. That's what happened, right?
No, what happened was it's kind of like that, but I ended up showing up at like about 2 hours before they opened, and there were people that were there at 10 p.m. the night before, and they only had 6 in stock, and I was the 7th person that showed up.
Yeah,
so I didn't know until they opened that they only had 6 in stock, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? So I waited for 2 hours for nothing. And yeah, I mean, then the whole fiasco with 3.5 hours on BestBuy.com trying to buy one, having it in my cart, and then trying to check out, but their checkout kept failing. So
yeah,
that was a whole fiasco in itself. So I'm just kind of over it. I'll just get one whenever I get one. I'm not in a rush anymore. I just don't care at this point. But it is what it is. And plus, I mean, they have a whole bay on their thing where you can add another hard drive on it, but it can't even be used currently until they do some kind of update later on. So, because I mean, honestly, with the sizes of the hard drive that they have, it's still not going to hold nearly that much for games and whatnot. So, I'd want to wait until that's where you can add that other hard drive onto it to get more for your money there. So I don't know.
You can still use an external if you have one for your PS4.
Yeah,
it'll work.
I mean, and that's all well and good, but I don't know. It's not going to be nearly as fast either. Having the external hooked up to it versus having it directly connected to it. So I don't know. It's just at this point, I'm just kind of over everything. So I just don't care.
Oh, I get it. Trust me.
But it is what it is. For myself, though, I haven't really done much of anything. It's been kind of a busy week, and I'm just looking forward to having a 3-day weekend this next weekend. About the only thing I've really watched is I've started watching the Chappelle Show. I've watched about the first 6 episodes of that.
Hell yeah.
Which is great. And I know
I'm rich.
Sean and Ted have been talking about it a lot lately, so I had to rewatch it because it's been a long time. It's been at least 15 years, I think, since I've watched it last. I think it's been something like that. It's been super, super long, but so I watched that. I watched those first 5 episodes, and then I watched Mr. Deeds because it's been a long time since I've watched that too, and I forgot how much I love that movie. I love Mr. Deeds.
Man, these things are fast.
God, Steve Buscemi's great. Oh, Crazy Eyes. I love it. It's so good. Other than that, Jesus. But other than that, I mean, I've been playing a little bit of video games. I've been playing a lot more Phasmophobia at night with some people from work and whatnot, because they've been getting into it too. So other than that, I've been playing some Destiny and otherwise not doing much of anything. So my life's pretty fucking boring. But then again, it really is with this whole fucking lockdown, so there ain't shit to do. No more restaurants or bars open again.
Well, you got the the Vinegar Syndrome sale coming up.
Yep.
So you have something to watch. And I'm sure other places like Shout will probably do something, and you might find some good movies on Amazon. You probably get some good stuff to watch.
Ronin
over
Flix
the
is having a
holidays.
sale right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, unfortunately, it ends tonight so
Right.
before this episode's even posted. But I bought 2 movies from there yesterday morning.
Yep.
And it only cost me because their movies aren't cheap either to buy from them. But
No.
the sale helped, and I only spent $40. I bought a Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, and I bought Lucio Fulci's The Gates of Hell or City of the Living Dead, whichever title you prefer, because it's known as both. So
Yeah.
which that one I just checked now, they only have like 62 copies left of that one.
Oh, wow.
And there's only 148 of Butcher Baker, which I said on the episode we did with other people from the network. That movie. Or I didn't say in the episode. I said it before the episode. My bad. Oh, but that Butcher Baker keeps going like in and out of print. It's like weird.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you don't have it, pick it up.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of sales, this is a good segue into some news here because I did want to bring up the Vinegar Syndrome sale coming up because obviously that's coming up this next weekend. Starting Friday morning, Thanksgiving night, depending on where you're located. So it starts at 12:01 Eastern time, and it's their annual Black Friday sale. So 50% off MSRP of basically almost everything that's older than September of this year. So they've got that going on for all old titles, but then also you've got the release of Beastmaster in 4K. Fade to Black, Forgotten Gialli Volume 2, which I'm super excited for because I love Gialli movies. And then also they got 2 VSA releases that are going to be done in their action movies. And so we know one of them is Action USA. So I wonder if the other one might end up being maybe Vice Academy 4 through 6. I mean, we can always hope. With it being action?
I don't think so because in their initial announcement they said it's going to be 2 VSA releases, but 3 movies total.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that part.
I think the other one's just going to be a double feature of something.
Okay.
Before they announced it that it was action titles, I was thinking maybe it would be like Circuitry Man 1 and 2 or something like that. But obviously, well, you never know. I mean, that's kind of considered them. I mean, those are kind of considered action, some like comedy and stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to wait and see till we get to Thursday night.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, especially Fade to Black. Gosh, I mean, everybody's been clamoring for that, or I say everybody. A lot of people have been clamoring that for years, and now it's finally happening.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Here's a rule, everybody. If there's a title that's limited, order it first, and then just combine your orders. If you want to order more stuff, do not wait because this stuff goes fast.
Having it in your cart is not securing it. You have to have it
No,
bought.
it's not. You need to buy it right away if you really want it, and it's a limited thing. Buy it right away. That's what I mean. We do that all the time. Isaiah and I do not wait because you always get somebody who's been warned. Vinegar Syndrome warns people. They tell people to do that.
Yep.
They do. They say if there's something limited, buy it right away. Do not wait. Buy it because you can always add to your order other stuff, so you can secure that order in. And everybody else on all the different internet forums, tell you do that. But then there's always the few people that end up complaining, well, I had such and such in my cart, and then I went to shop for other stuff, but then it wouldn't process my order because that thing was then out of stock. That's not fair. Well, you're an idiot because you've been warned by multiple people. So don't complain.
Right. Yeah. So
I hate that crap.
Seriously, if you have something in, especially if you shop Vinegar Syndrome, you should know the drill by now, especially if you've done these sales before. Buy whatever it is that's limited that you want for sure. Get that first and just go back and add to your order. That's all you got to do. It's very simple, very easy to do. Then you don't miss out and have stuff in your cart that just automatically disappears because you decided to wait.
And if you have to work on Friday morning, Get a friend or somebody to buy it for you, and then pay them the money.
Right? Something.
Something. Come on, don't miss out. If you really want it, please do not miss out. You need to get it.
Yep. But yeah, the whole it's your one chance to become the yearly subscriber to. Me and Ted are both going for that this year. And it's nice because you get the 50% off coupons for the VSA titles.
And the VSU.
And the VSU, and now all partner labels. So
yeah,
AGFA, all of them. Fun City. I mean, they're all being included this next year, which is nice.
It's the best sale of It's the best sale of the year.
It really is.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says. Vinegar Syndrome has the best Black Friday sale of the entire year.
I usually don't buy these when they come out because I usually don't have a whole lot of money. But if you miss them, you can get them, but you're gonna pay a lot because we have a local DVD store around here that's big. Then they buy all the Vinegar Syndrome stuff and all the Shout Factory stuff and everything. In the last big Vinegar Syndrome sale they had, there was a couple things I wanted, and I went in there and looked, and like they had all of it. They had a whole wall of just Vinegar Syndrome with the really nice slip covers and everything. And the cheapest title they had, because they had every one that released, the cheapest one they had was like $70. It was crazy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, because they're all limited runs. They don't ever run them again.
Yep.
So if you want to, you need to pick it up, unless you're okay with paying like 3 or 4 times the MSRP later down.
Mm-hmm. Rad. Rad's a great example. That sucker's going for way too much money now.
That sold out so quick, man. I'm glad.
Yeah, I was looking at their Vice Academy because they had that one. That one was like, because I think it was like the first 3 movies in the pack or something like that.
Yeah.
And they wanted like $140 for it.
Yeah, because only like 3,000 were made of that, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Man, you know what? If I really want to watch those movies, I'll find somewhere to rent it. or I'll find another way. I'm not paying $140 for 3 movies.
Yeah, I'm glad Ted and Sean talked me into that one.
That's more than $40 a movie.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
That's crazy. But yeah, the VSA releases are always limited. They only have a select amount.
Mm-hmm.
That's why during their halfway to Black Friday sale, Isaiah and I, first thing we did was buy Evil Town because they had some extras of that, and that was the one we were missing from our VSA collection, and
it was numbered too. That was the key thing.
Yeah. So we got that in, and Sean got lucky. They were selling one at the drive-in when he went to the drive-in, and so he bought one there. Whoever was running the table, they had a copy, and so he bought it. But yeah, I mean, once VSA goes out, it's out. They don't do it anymore.
Yep.
I mean,
that limited run, and that's it.
That's why I'm glad I picked up Dr. Jekyll this past week and got it in the mail.
Yeah.
Now my VSA is complete again until Thursday.
You're right.
I'm buying both of those. I'm buying Fade to Black, and there's a couple more I'm going to buy before.
I want Fade to Black and Beastmaster, and
yeah, we pre-ordered Beastmasters. Isaiah and I did.
I hadn't seen Codename Santa Claus, but I wanted that one too. It looked really good.
I love that movie. I highly recommend that movie.
I haven't. Man, I just don't got the money to.
I'm on the fence about that movie, to be honest, because I've never seen it.
I haven't
Seriously,
either, but
it's
from
really
everything
good.
I saw, it looked really good.
If you're on the fence, I don't know if it's still on Shudder or not, but that's where I watched it before it was on Shudder.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it might even be on Amazon. I'm not 100% sure. It's moved around a little bit on some of the different streaming services.
I think Sean said it was on YouTube at one point. It might still be there.
It might be. Yeah, Dial Code Santa Claus.
I got so much crap to watch on my week off. It's not even funny.
Right. I get it. I totally get it. So yeah, Vinegar Syndrome this Friday, Thursday night, depending on where you're at. Once again, starts at 12:01 a.m. Eastern time. So be on the lookout for that, especially if you want some good obscure horror movies, exploitation.
Come join Isaiah and me on PlayStation. We'll be having a Vinegar Syndrome party.
Right.
We always do.
we always do, and I'm planning on watching Blood Rage that night while I'm shopping.
I will probably watch that with you, buddy.
All right.
Pop in my disc, and that's not cranberry sauce.
Nope.
It's not cranberry sauce.
Actually, I think we watched the same movie the last year too when we did it.
I think so. This is our tradition now.
Oh, it's so good. So be on the lookout for that. Now, kind of moving on from there, just a couple other pieces of news. 10 Cloverfield Lane director Dan Trachtenberg is directing the new Predator movie for 20th Century Studios. So there's been a little bit of talk about that. I don't know how I feel about it, because obviously the latest Predator movies really haven't done very well, and obviously Alien versus Predator isn't really anything to write home to mom about either. So I mean, I know we were talking
last night. The last good Predator movie was in 1990.
Yeah.
It's been 30 years.
You can't. I would normally have to say wait for a trailer, but man, the last movie, the trailer looked fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so let down by that movie. That movie was, oh my god.
Yeah, and
you're the reason I didn't see that movie.
I'll never watch it. I was so hyped for that movie because I am such a huge Predator fan. I fucking love Predator.
Yeah,
and even though I hated Predators, I hated AVP. I never watched AVP 2. I was still hyped for this movie, and I was hyped for all those when they came out too. And they always let me down.
Yeah,
what the fuck, Fox? What the fuck?
Yeah, and I know that we talked a little bit about this last night when we recorded next week's episode, and you'll hear about it then. But we talked a little bit about how, like, you can have a lot of knowledge about a franchise and whatnot, but if you don't really have a passion for it, it's because that really kind of showed with, like, because you had Shane Black doing, The Predator, and you thought it was going to be a home run. I mean, the guy that wrote the original one, and he's a fairly competent, writer, director, and it didn't click. It really didn't click with the latest Predator movie. So
don't forget, though, Shane Black was the guy who wanted to kill Riggs off at the end of Lethal Weapon 2.
True.
And the studio said nah, and so he threw a hissy fit and was like, "Nah, I'm never doing another Lethal Weapon again."
True.
And people didn't want to see Riggs die. So I mean, what was he thinking? I mean, they had to rewrite his script, actually, if I remember correctly. Like his script for Lethal Weapon 2 was like extremely dark and more it wasn't like a what it is now, buddy comedy type, buddy cop movie, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, darn. I mean, I haven't read the script. I would like to at some point, but I heard, just what I've read about it, it just sounded really depressing. Or something. It's like I don't want to be depressed watching a Lethal Weapon movie. I mean, geez.
It's true.
And,
I don't know what part he had in the new one, Predator. It's just the whole point of Predator is it's supposed to be a human that's got some skill in combat somehow, whether it be special ops or being a cop in LA, going up against this super powered alien, and he has a fighting chance. There's some sliver of a chance of him winning. But when you bring in a 9-foot tall super predator that is bulletproof and impervious to any type of damage, what the fuck is the point?
Right.
Yeah. That's why I hated Predators. Because when that came out 10 years ago, I was hyped for that and it looked cool. And then you have these super predators, and they're taking away the people they've kidnapped and brought to that planet reserve. They've basically taken away weapons, and they sent those alien dogs after them to kill them. And I'm like, these aren't what predators do. I was like, this isn't. They hunt for themselves.
It was like what a person would do if they were hunting people.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, well, there's, all these different races of predators, and they're at war with each other. The super predator and the regular. I hated that crap. I'm like, why do you got to convolute everything? It's just make it a Predator movie,
And they're going to start a hunt while they're in the middle of a fucking war. That don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, that movie, I hated that movie. I went and saw it in the theater, and I was like, never again.
Now, if they do a Predator versus Samurai, I'm down. That was fucking dope.
You're the reason I didn't see the Predator. I was waiting for your opinion. When you said it sucked, I knew right there and then. I was like, "Yep, I'm not seeing this."
Yeah, I mean,
I still haven't.
honestly, dude, I can't even tell you to wait to watch it for free because then you're wasting your time.
Yeah,
It's so fucking bad. I mean, say what you want, and I mean, I'm not trying to throw any shade on any type of demographic or say anyone is less capable, but
yeah.
you're going to tell me that the Predator came to Earth just to steal the DNA of an autistic kid? Fuck you. That is so fucking stupid.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
That's like the Predator coming after me because he wants my sexiness or something, you know?
Now, I'd watch that movie.
Oh, man.
I think that'll be a different type of movie.
Leisure Suit Predator.
Leisure Suit Predator.
It's so funny you say that. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching some gameplay YouTube videos, and that was one of them I was watching. I'm like, what the heck is this crap? I mean, I know what Leisure
Dog game.
Yeah, I was like, I know what Leisure Suite is, but I was actually, I've never played any of them. And I was like, well, this will help me not to play any of them. But I was laughing because it was just horrible puns. And
Yeah, it's funny. It was like, I don't know if you guys ever played that 64 game Conquer with the Dirty Squad.
Yes.
Oh,
I fucking love that
his
game.
puns were so fucking funny.
I remember when the trailers for that game were coming out back in the day.
That was the last 64 game I owned.
Yeah, that was a funny game. That and Duke Nukem was good for cheesy puns, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Duke Nukem was funny.
Oh. People just wouldn't get it nowadays. They'd be so offended.
Yeah, I don't think so because that Deadpool game that came out, that thing bombed, and that looked. I didn't play it. It looked funny.
Yeah,
and I don't think that the remake of Destroy All Humans did very good either.
No, you don't. Didn't really hear much about it after it.
That game was
released.
funny as fuck, man. I laughed my ass off playing that as a kid.
Yep. Sad world. Sad world we live in. It is what it is, though. But yeah, so that's kind of, like I said, I don't know how I feel about the Predator news because it's just there's been too many letdowns with Predator, especially since Predator 2. It's just they haven't done a good job with the franchise, in my opinion. Kind of moving on from there, though, is some more interesting news with regards to HBO. Because HBO's been kind of announcing a lot of different shows and whatnot. And so they did finally order to series The Last of Us. And that's coming up. So they've got a guy by the name of Neil Druckmann on board to co-write and produce. And so that's kind of the wheels are starting to turn for that. So it's been in development for a while for a Last of Us TV show, and I know we talked about it previously on the show, and this was months ago. So they're finally getting this train moving for this. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about it because like I said previously, I think HBO usually does a fairly good job with what they do and what they produce.
For me, it's going to... I mean, if they follow the story of Ellie and Joel, it's going to come down to who they cast them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's... I got a couple people in mind that could do it, but...
Yeah.
You never know. Honestly, I would have never expected Henry Cavill to be Geralt in The Witcher, but he fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
He was so good at that. So... I'm excited. I love The Last of Us. The storytelling is top notch.
Yeah, and then
it's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. I should be playing Ellie. I'm the best for Ellie. 6.5 feet tall, but I can play a 14-year-old girl.
There you go.
Joel. What about the mutant zombies, Joel? What about the fungi? Tell me about the fireflies. Is everything true? Someone stop me. I can't stop talking like this now.
No, keep going, Ted. please. But
There's a bow and arrow. I'm sorry.
It should be pretty interesting because Craig Mazin, who developed Chernobyl for HBO, is helping to develop the show itself. And Chernobyl was fucking amazing, and so he's fairly competent in these series and whatnot. So I think it's in good hands between the two, with Neil co-writing and then Craig developing it. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops. And like Mark was saying, whoever is going to be cast is going to be kind of key too. So as long as they make all the right moves, I think it's going to be a smash. I think it'll be a hit. So I'm super
Carl
excited.
Urban will be Joel.
I want
He would
Woody
actually wouldn't be a
Harrelson.
bad pick.
Woody
if he wasn't
Harrelson.
actually too busy. I would say that.
Yeah.
Woody
my-
Harrelson as Joel is my pick.
Man, forget y'all. It's Adam Sandler all the way, man. Adam Sandler is Joel. That was the role he was born to play. Uncut Gems. That was just a testing ground. Watch all of this weirdly be right. I would be freaked out if I actually really predicted this, and I would be ashamed.
It'll be all Ted's fault. And that's okay.
No. We gotta get our story straight. It's Sean's fault.
Oh, yes. Because Sean's not here, so it is his fault. It's always the guy that's not here's fault. And that is a fact. Just to kind of round out our news for tonight, though, we got some news about Stranger Things. So we found out that Robert Englund has been cast in season 4. And he's playing a disturbed man in prison for a gruesome murder. So I don't know if this is going to be like in the scenes in Russia with how Hawkins is there now after everything that happened in season 3. So Robert Englund's going to have a part to play, which I think is great. I mean, it's getting him in more roles, and I fucking love Robert Englund. So I'm always up for seeing him involved in basically anything. So I think it's pretty cool that he's going to be involved with Stranger Things, especially kind of obviously with Stranger Things being more focused in the 80s and whatnot, and England having a huge part to do with the 80s, especially in the role of Freddy and whatnot. So I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, I think that's really fucking cool. The only big thing I got to comment on it is, I mean, Robert Englund's awesome, but at this point, I don't give a fuck who you put in the show. I just want to see it.
Right. I agree.
I'm waiting until the show ends to finally watch it.
You're killing me, Ted. You're fucking killing me.
So here we go. I was heavy into Glow, and I was waiting for season 4, and then they just say, "Yeah, we're not doing a season 4 now because of COVID and stuff." So basically, I wasted 3 seasons of watching a show that's not going to have an ending.
That's still worth it to me. That show was funny as shit.
It was funny, but I would like to see an ending. If I don't have an ending, then I feel like it's just friggin' pointless.
Yeah, that one's a sore subject because that show's phenomenal.
I mean, I get that to a point because my whole life people have been telling me you got to watch Firefly. It's right down your alley. It's the kind of show that you would love. You got to watch Firefly, and then not even one fucking heartbeat later, they're like, but it was the most depressing thing ever when it got canceled. Like, why the fuck do you want to put me through that? I'm not gonna watch this shit.
Maybe I'm wrong in this. For Firefly, like I never watched that either, but people say that, and they act like it's like one of the greatest sci-fi things ever. But then when Josh Whedon was allowed to make the movie called Serenity, which it's Firefly the movie. Like, didn't it like bomb in the theater or something like that?
I don't know.
I mean, because then we never got anything else from it. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, it's been a long time, but I don't remember anybody really going gaga for Serenity. But you think it would have been like a huge moneymaker if everybody loved Firefly. I mean, because it was the movie version of Firefly. It continued. Right. Then it continued the story, or it was the prequel to or something. I don't know, but I'm just thinking, if it was so great, why didn't that movie like take off and like start, restart the franchise, or
Yeah.
kind of like how the Family Guy thing, where so many people bought the DVDs that Fox was like, okay, let's bring the show back, and they did. And
Right.
I mean,
I don't know. I'd probably never watch it. I really don't think I really like Nathan Fillion, and I think he's really funny. But to me, his best role that I've experienced from him was Cade 6 in Destiny. He was so fucking funny. And then they killed him.
Yeah. But I mean, I wonder how much they were paying him for that, though, too. So, I mean, that could have played a factor into why they killed him off. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, that was sad when he was no longer in the game. I loved Cade 6. He was like the best part of Destiny.
He was so funny.
He really was. He really was. But so that's just kind of the news that we had for tonight. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about video games. So we're closing off the month of November talking about the best in horror video games, in our opinion. And I mean, yeah, you can't really not talk about Friday the 13th again, because like we've said many times, this podcast would not even exist without Friday the 13th game. And I mean, that was a huge staple for us for the longest time. I mean, we played that shit nightly for a very long time. And, obviously we became friends off of that game. And even now, even as things are kind of winding down with them, like, decommissioning the dedicated servers and everything, and it's gone back to peer-to-peer, it's still fun every now and then just to jump back into the game and just play every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, this game is great. It's a lot of fun, especially if you haven't experienced it. The only thing I would add on to that is I wouldn't recommend it if you don't have friends to play with.
Yeah.
But if you're fine with playing with strangers, the best thing I could recommend upon that is to join a Facebook group or a Discord server or something, so you can get into private games. Because if you start playing this game, and games are 20 minutes long, so if you play this game and you get to the end of the game and then Jason quits or the host quits and then the game just ends and you got to start over and over every time, you're going to end up hating this game.
Yeah.
So definitely play with friends. Join a Facebook group, something. But it is a lot of fun, especially when you first. I don't know for you guys, but for me, when I first started playing this game, it was actually scary. Jason actually scared the fucking shit out of me. It's like you think you're safe, and then he busts through the door, and you don't know how to fight Jason yet, and you're in a full panic mode, and then your vision blurs, and you lose your mini map.
Yep.
Your stamina bar, you can't keep track of your stamina.
Yeah, because you can't see it. Yeah.
Yeah, when the game first was released, I mean, Jason was a monster in that. I mean, he was almost unstoppable, and that's what I loved about it before they pussied out and nerfed him really bad.
Well, they buffed him and nerfed him and buffed him and nerfed him.
Yeah.
They kept messing with the game. They couldn't just leave it alone.
On top of that, with Friday, if you're into this kind of game and you can't get over the dedicated server problem, Dead by Daylight is a really good game. I never got into it really big, but it is a really good game, and they're still supporting it, and they're still putting out content for it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like the asymmetrical, yeah, we did. I'm just saying, I never put as much stock into that as I did in Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got so much. You got on the survivor side and the killer side. They got Ghostface from Scream. They got the pig mask kidnapper from Saw, and Leatherface, and Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger. Yeah, and then they got a lot of their original concept characters are really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
The hillbilly's really freaking scary looking. That clown reminds me of the clown from Spawn, just taller.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe he looks. I'd say maybe more like a Wrinkles the clown, but a little scarier. The Wrinkles was dumb Don't watch that movie.
Agreed.
But for asymmetrical, those are the two. That's it. I mean, there's some indie ones coming out, but
yeah,
I usually wait to see because that last year game looked really good and it freaking died.
Yeah, that was sad that just didn't ever really have much of a chance. It's a bummer. Because these kind of games are actually really, really good. And obviously we know Gunn is working on a new game, and there's a lot of chatter that is probably going to either be a new Halloween game, which is what my money's going on, especially with the popularity of the Halloween franchise right now, with obviously 2 new movies that are going to be coming out. So
if they're gonna do a Halloween game, it needs to be different than like Friday and Dead by Daylight. You know, I don't know what would be done differently. It just needs to be something fresh.
Well, they did say, Wes Keltner did say in a live stream that their focus is horror multiplayer games.
Well, I mean, Dead by Daylight is quite a bit different than Friday. They're not really very similar.
I'm just talking about something different. Like, you know, Friday you gotta fix the phone, call the police, fix the car, escape in the car, the boat. I don't want another game like that. I want something entirely different. I just, you know, I don't know. We had to wait and see, of course, but
right.
I'm not gonna hype myself up for a Halloween game until I start hearing, seeing things and how it's gonna look and how it's gonna play.
Yeah.
If it's just going to be like the same mechanics as Friday or whatever, then I'm already not interested.
So, but yeah, so a lot of chatter is saying it might be a Halloween game, more than likely. Otherwise, it could be a Nightmare game, just because obviously that franchise has been hasn't really had a lot going on. And they did say that it's going to be an existing IP, so it's not going to be something completely new. So they've got some kind of licensing deal from what it looks like for some franchise. It could even be a Texas Chainsaw game. I mean, who really knows? But it seems to be the safe monies on Halloween, especially with how popular it is right now. So, but I mean, we're still a ways off from that. That's in the future. That's not kind of in like even eyesight right now. But
just a second, guys. I'll contact Doc Brown and I'll go take a look and see how it
is. For other multiplayer horror games, there's a lot of really good first-person shooter horror games out that you can play. One of my favorites was Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Those games were a lot of fun.
I love those games.
And it blew my freaking mind that last month Left 4 Dead 2 got an update patch.
Really?
They added new I think they added a new map with different missions, and they might have added a new character, but I'm not sure. But yeah, Valve added to it.
Interesting.
And that game's old as shit.
It is. Because the last thing I remember hearing about Left 4 Dead is they did kind of a crossover thing with Dying Light, which is another good multiplayer zombie game.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a limited time thing for Halloween, I think, that they were doing that. But that's kind of the last thing I heard about Left 4 Dead, but I didn't know that they had a whole like patch or anything, because that's amazing, because Left 4 Dead 2 was over 10 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, you can get it on Steam if you don't have a Xbox. It's not on PlayStation, but
yep.
And if you're into newer games like this, like Killing Floor, Call of Duty Zombies, or something like that, you're going to notice how dated it is by certain commodities that aren't in the game. Like you can't aim down scope, and your running's a little wonky, and there's just a few like different things that, as the genre itself has since evolved, and that's not Left 4 Dead's fault, because if you look back at the older shooter games like Halo and GoldenEye, you didn't aim down sights in those games either.
Nope. Oh, that's so good. But yeah, definitely Dying Light is like on like in the top of my list for horror games.
I never played it.
Really?
I wanted to get into it.
Oh, man.
When the new one comes out, I'm getting it. That's for sure. But it keeps getting delayed.
Yeah, who knows when that's coming out. Honestly, Dying Light is still worth it even to this day, because they're still releasing content for it. I mean,
it looks cool because it's like parkour and zombies, and that's just a cool concept, and it's unique. A lot of these zombie games coming out are just repeats of each other.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those other games where it's best if you're playing with other people. Like me and Ted, for a while there, were replaying this quite a bit.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of fun, especially if you're playing with other people.
And I kept forgetting to heal myself, and Isaiah had to save my butt a couple of times.
I've had to save his ass so many times. It was great.
Because I was focusing on doing parkour. That was my favorite part, jumping around.
Yep. It was great.
And I was like, oh crap, I'm low on health, and we're like surrounded by a horde of zombies. You're like, I'm coming, Ted. I'm like, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it's great. And honestly, I mean, they just released or are getting ready to release their 5-year anniversary edition of it. So they got a little bit more content that they're putting out for that, some extra things and whatnot. And you get everything else that's already been released for it too. So it's even 5 years later, the game still holds up. I mean, it's still a lot of fun to play. I still get in there every once in a while to play, even if it's by myself, just because I have a lot of fun with the game. It's definitely my favorite zombie game. That is by far and large, like, I think the best zombie game.
That's a statement because there's so many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun playing Dead Island.
Yep.
I don't think that there's multiplayer for that though.
There is.
There is?
Yep. There was. The original Dead Island, I think, was more local co-op, because that was kind of in the earlier days of it.
And that's what Dying Light kind of reminded me of, was that, but a little more fast-paced, and
it's the same company that
maybe
made
a bigger world.
Yeah. It's the same company that did Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide.
I never played Riptide, but Dead Island was a lot of fun. I never beat it because it was a really hard game.
It was, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I could pick a favorite zombie game. Maybe Left 4 Dead 2. Maybe Dead Rising 2.
Dead Rising 2 was pretty good.
Yeah, Dead Rising was a lot of fun.
I like how Dead Rising was just very, very campy and really out there. Like, especially with like the later ones. I know like Dead Rising 3 they went more serious, but like Dead Rising 4 they went just batshit crazy when they brought Frank back and everything, and just
I just loved how you could use anything in the game as a weapon. You could like tee off golf balls into a zombie's face if you wanted to.
Yep.
You pick up because you're in a mall. You can even unlock the car in the mall and drive around and hit zombies with it.
Yeah, that was great.
Or like take a Lego head and like put it on a zombie and watch him walk around with a Lego. Or you can like put on dresses and fight zombies. Just be weird,
Yeah.
Put on lingerie. Yeah, Franken lingerie.
It was like a GTA in a mall with zombies.
Yep. Pretty much. It's a very, very accurate description, and it was great. It was just phenomenal.
It's still great if you got the. I think the first 3, they might all be on PS4. I don't know. I know
the first 2 are on PS4, and part 4 is. I think 3 was an Xbox exclusive, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Okay.
So
I only played 1 and 2. I played it on PS2. Or PS3, rather.
Yeah.
Not PS2. I played on PS3. Yeah, for zombies, I'd have to say Left 4 Dead 2. That game was just so much fun, and it was creepy. The witch was a freaking creepy ass zombie.
Dead Space was good too.
I never played Dead Space.
Dead Space was great because it was definitely more on the horror side of things and kind of a little bit more survival.
Is that the single player?
Yeah.
For single player shooters, I think right now one of the best out is probably Doom. It's a really good game to get into. Doom and Doom Eternal's the new one. It's really, I don't know, maybe I'm just not good at those kind of games, but I think it's hard. I tried to play Doom earlier today, and it was just the platforming was hard to me.
Mm-hmm. I do like it how they went more fast paced, like the original games.
Yeah,
you know, I love that aspect of it, but I do agree it's a little tough. But I was never really good at Doom. I enjoyed playing it just because of the gore and everything, but I was not very good at it. So I haven't even beaten it. So it is what it is. I had a lot of fun with it though. It's great, especially graphical wise, and the music in it, of course, is going to be fucking phenomenal too. Just that. You know, heavy metal score is great. So everything about the 2016 Doom and Doom Eternal is just awesome. And just it does feel like a proper like remake of like the original games, which is really cool. Instead of trying to do something like totally different, like
yeah, they're definitely staying true to the original. That's for sure, and that's probably why it's getting such great praise with the fans, because it's like taking the original and modernizing it.
Yep.
Because I mean, you got the regular tropes, like you have to pick up the red key card to get through the door, and you got to find the dead guy with the key code. It's a lot of things like that. You got to go find something to get to this something, so you can get to what you're actually trying to do.
Yeah. Which is great. I love that aspect of Doom, and I think it's awesome that they went back to that.
It's a simple formula, and it works.
Yeah, for sure.
Mentioned Resident Evil yet?
Well,
that's what I was going to say next, Ted.
Sure.
I was going to say, man, today is probably nowadays is probably the best time to be a Resident Evil fan.
Yeah,
because all the games just got a remaster, and you got 2 and 3 just got remade, and they're amazing. And 4's getting remade as well, which is my personal favorite. Resident Evil 4 was my favorite Resident Evil, all of them.
Isn't this the second time that the 4 has been remade?
I remember.
Well, it's getting an actual remake, like 2 and 3 did.
Gotcha.
I remember playing that for the first time on the GameCube when it first came out, and that first fight in the village when all the villagers are after you, man, I was like freaking out. Like I'm like, how the heck am I gonna get through this?
And then you come across the chainsaw guy for the first time.
Oh gosh. I tell you, man, I crapped my pants when that happened. All of a sudden you hear this, and I'm like, what is that? And then you see, I was like, oh jeez. I'm like trying to like barricade doors, and he's just, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna die.
I remember fighting the fish thing on the boat, man. Made me so fucking mad.
Yeah.
You have to hit that A button quick, or whatever system you're playing on.
Yeah. Or
else it's gonna gobble you up. It's gonna be worse than Jaws eating that kid.
Resident Evil 7 Biohazard was really good too.
Yeah.
I didn't beat that one either because it was really hard.
Yeah. That game.
That game, I really love that game. The hard part was Marguerite's battle, because she's like,
that's where I got stuck.
She's like a spider, and I try to save all my flamethrower ammo and stuff for her whenever I play the game, and I can try to burn her to a crisp as much as I can. But yeah, she's a pain in the butt. That's the boss battle I freaking hate.
I remember the first time after you beat Jack in the I think you beat him at after he comes after you in the bathroom. And I remember the first time after I killed him, and I went back there because I forgot something, and he came out around the corner and grabbed me again. It scared the shit out of me. I was like, I thought I fucking killed you.
The way he just follows you through, especially when you at the first of the game, when you you're tied to the chair and you're having the dinner, basically it's like an homage to Texas Chainsaw. Mm-hmm. You escape from the chair, and then Jack starts coming after you. He just taunts you, and he's saying all that weird stuff like, woo, I'm going to get you, boy, woo, this crazy stuff that, there are times, there's one part, man, when he just burst through the wall. I thought I was getting away from him, and then he just, right in front of me, just came through that wall. And again, just like Resident Evil 4, I crapped my pants, man. I was just like, oh my goodness, this game's going to kill me. It's going to give me high blood pressure.
Yeah. Give you a heart attack or something. Yeah.
And then you have to fight them in the garage, which is very confined space. And then you got to fight them again, like at the end. And it's just like,
But when you finally kill them, it was pretty satisfying.
At the boathouse, yeah.
So good.
Because you kill him at the boathouse, and then there's this whole other section of the game where you play as Ethan's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go back to the house, and it's a really good game. It's really good structured. I'm looking forward to 8.
To Village, yeah.
I know that's going to be for PS5.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. Yeah, 7 really brought this franchise back because 6 was horrendous. I mean, 6 was so bad.
See, I didn't hate 6. I didn't hate that game. I had fun with it. I know it's not what everybody, people wanted it to be, but I enjoyed the different campaigns and all the stories converging together. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I understand, if people hate Chris's campaign because it was just all action oriented essentially, and that I can understand.
Yeah,
Leon's campaign was basically like classic Resident Evil with the zombies because, you're at that college campus at the beginning of his campaign. The president is a zombie, and he had to shoot the president, and then he, teams up with what's her face. I can't remember her name. Whose sister got turned into a monster. See, I mean, I liked the game. I didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked it better than 5. And 5 wasn't a bad game either, but I think I preferred 6 to 5, really.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't play after 4. I played the first 4, and I played Biohazard, and that was about all I played. I never played 0.
5 is cool. It takes place in Africa. And then it goes more into virus in the Las Plagas, kind of putting stuff together, and you get Jill back. It's the final battle. Well, until we see what happens in the future, it is supposed to be the final battle between Chris and Wesker. I mean, you blow up Wesker with a rocket launcher and a volcano at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. I mean. the dude's freaking dead. They probably cloned him, who knows? This series gets so crazy at times.
Yeah.
But I mean, part 6, one of the main characters is his biological son, who's actually a good guy. So
yeah,
I said it gets pretty cool and crazy. And then you got the CG movies that take place in between the games, which I enjoy for the most part.
Yeah.
You had what was it? Degeneration, Damnation, and then Vendetta. Mm-hmm. So you've got a trilogy of movies right there already.
I don't think I've ever watched those movies.
They're pretty cool. I mean, because they actually, unlike the live action movies, they actually take place in the timeline of the games.
Okay.
Degeneration takes place in between 4 and 5. Damnation takes place in between 5 and 6. And I guess, Vendetta takes place after 6. Leon's in all the games. In the movies, the first movie, Degeneration, it's Leon and Claire back together.
Mm-hmm.
Damnation, it's just Leon. He's been sent to this European nation that's been having biohazard issues and found this whole political plot thing. And then Vendetta, it's Leon and Chris and Rebecca Chambers in the movie.
Okay.
So, I mean, I like them for the most part. Some people say, Degeneration was boring. To each their own. I didn't mind it.
Okay.
One thing I'll say that I really, really do enjoy about the Resident Evil series is they do have connections and connecting storylines, but you can really just drop into any of them and be fine and not have to have any past knowledge of the other games and still have a great time.
Agreed. 100%. Yeah, because
that's why with the, what is it, Dante's Inferno, I couldn't get into like the 5th one came out. It's like I've never played the games, and they're all like this long storyline. I don't know. It feels weird, and sometimes you're fine. But I'll tell you, for this one, like if you want to play Resident Evil 3 because you think it looks cool, go play Resident Evil 3, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And
usually they have a prologue or something that briefly explains something that's happened before, so you're not
right.
Lost anyway.
Very true. Kind of in the same vein as the Resident Evil games. Did you guys ever play any of the Evil Within games?
I haven't, but I watched some gameplay and it looked really cool.
I like those games a lot. I like the aspect where like the ammo was like scarce, so you had to like use it wisely, and then you had other things you could use like shovels or whatever the case may be, but you had to like really conserve your ammo just because you didn't know when or if you would get any more. I like that whole aspect because that really amped up like the survival aspect of it. And I think the same was with like health kits and stuff like that too. Like those were pretty scarce as well. So it was really kind of more of a strategy kind of thing of, trying to sneak around and then not be caught if you could, and then using what you could without having to use up all your ammo. I really liked everything with that Evil Within had. And it's kind of a bummer because like the games, I wouldn't necessarily say they didn't do well, but they weren't like that popular, just from both 1 and 2 and whatnot. But I highly enjoyed those and highly suggest them if you're looking for a good survival horror type game that's kind of in the same vein as like the Resident Evil games. I thought they were a lot of fun, and definitely suggest those. And then kind of looking at another like good like single player game, Until Dawn for PS4.
Oh, that was so good.
That game
It was like an interactive movie kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
I remember being hyped for that and having it on pre-order,
and
really enjoyed what it was.
Yeah,
it's pretty cheap too.
Yeah,
it's not expensive at all, and I love the whole butterfly effect kind of thing where each decision you make is gonna help influence the outcome.
Down the road.
Yeah. I like that you could have almost any number of the characters survive or die in the game. I mean, it's just all based on your decisions and whatnot. I fucking love that game. It's such a good story too, and it played out so well. Like the voice acting was phenomenal in it. The graphics even in it, for it not being like a huge like AAA game. I mean, the graphics were phenomenal in this game too. And overall, it's just a great experience, and it is fairly cheap now because it's been out for a number of years. I highly suggest if you got a PS4, if you haven't played Until Dawn, check that out because it's a great experience.
I want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say it's going to be part of the PlayStation Plus collection on PS5 because you're getting like 30 games. Because that game came out on PS Plus. That's how I got it.
Yep.
And I think I beat it twice. Because you can play it multiple, like he was saying, you play it multiple different ways. And there's like one character has multiple different places and different ways that they could die. So you could see a completely different story if you play it again.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Have any of you guys played any of the Alone in the Dark games?
Yes, I played the one I played. I did play one on the Sega Saturn. No, Sega Saturn was the first time I played.
Oh, you're going way old school.
Oh yeah, but then I played I think it was Alone in the Dark 2 on PlayStation.
I think that's the more popular one.
I think so. Because that one I loved, and the reason why it sticks out in my mind, because it's definitely basically almost like a clone of like Resident Evil 2 in a lot of ways with like the gameplay.
But didn't it come first though? I know the Dark 1 came first, but
yeah.
But didn't 2 come first too? Or
I think 2 came after Resident Evil 2. I could be wrong though. I could be totally wrong.
I legitimately don't know.
It's been so long. I mean, we're talking like late 90s. But the cool thing with Alone in the Dark 2, when I got it, is I found out that if you put the CD into a CD player, it actually had a soundtrack on it that you could play through a CD player. And it had this like Alone in the Dark theme song and everything that was kind of more of a rock kind of tune. It was like a total by accident freak thing. I don't know why I decided to put it in my CD player, because I didn't know that there was like a hidden soundtrack on this fucking thing. But it was so good, and it was so well worth it.
PlayStation used to do that a lot with a lot of their things.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of things, if you put it in your computer, you get something special.
Yep.
Like I remember when the movie Castaway came out. If you played it on your PS2, you got an alternate ending with the movie, and it was only on PS2. It was really weird.
Huh.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys know, but there was the ending where Tom Hanks finally delivered the package that he refused to open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After he got out, he finally delivered it and had a bunch of survival shit in it.
That's hilarious.
And that only played on the PS2 version? Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I never heard of that before. That's great.
I was going to say, I looked it up. Alone in the Dark 2 came out in 93 and Resident Evil 2 came out in 98.
Wait, I might not be thinking Alone in the Dark 2 then. It was definitely a later, because it was a PlayStation one.
Well, that's why I said Alone in the Dark 2 came out in 93. The first one came out in 92.
Dark.
What about that awesome Alone in the Dark movie, guys?
Oh God, don't remind me.
Directed by the Oscar-winning director Uwe Boll. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Christian Slater was robbed that year, man. He was robbed.
All right, let's
it's
see.
Tara Reid, man.
Let's see. Maybe it was Alone in the Dark, A New Nightmare. Maybe that's what I played.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
I think that
was for Sega Genesis and like PS1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yep. Because that was on PlayStation, Dreamcast, and then it was on PS2 as well, and PC. Yeah, so it was Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, or Alone in the Dark 4. So that's the one I played.
Being a fan of RPGs, I'd have to recommend the Diablo series. That game's a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah,
it's got the top-down experience. It's like I want to name drop D&D, but not like the tabletop game. Like I don't know if you guys remember, but they used to have like D&D games that were a lot like Diablo, like back on the Xbox and PS2, and it's that kind of game, but it's more horror oriented.
It sounds familiar.
The D&D games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had some PC ones back in the day, but they had one that I played on the original Xbox, and it was a lot like Diablo.
Okay.
Kind of like Heroes of Might and Magic was kind of like it too. For modern RPGs, Diablo 3 is one, but also the Dark Souls series is really, really, really popular. Especially if you like challenging games. I've never played them. I want to get into, personally, I want to play Demon Souls on PS5 because I never played it, and it looks a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think my favorite out of the RPG genre for horror was probably back on the PlayStation 1 was Blood Omens: The Legacy of Kain. That game was so fucking awesome.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, you're the vampire that's pissed the fuck off that he's a vampire, so he's going out and trying to hunt all the people that turned him. It was a lot of fun.
That's great.
Let's not forget the classic Castlevania series.
Oh yeah.
Dude. Oh, I fucking love Castlevania. and I remember when it came out on Nintendo 64, Castlevania 64 came out. And I wasn't really that super big into like continuity and things when this came out because I was really young. And even as a kid, I played. I was like, man, this game is fucking stupid. Why is Castlevania? Because you were like, it was like they were trying to turn it into Resident Evil. Because it was all 3D and the vampire spawns were coming at you like zombies. It was so stupid.
I remember playing the original NES at my cousin's house once and just fall in love with it. I mean, I can just still remember just sitting in front of his TV with the controller in my hand, and then that music starts up when Belmont is going to the castle. It's just great. Do 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 do, and then just whipping the crap out of everything. I'm like, die, bat, die, wolf, die, die, anything. It's like a 5-year-old kid. Die. Give me those hearts.
I love the Castlevania Symphony of Night on PS1. I have it on PS4 as a bundle pack with as like Requiem. I can't remember what the other game was called, but I never played. But it was, instead of playing a Belmont, you play Dracula's son, Alucard.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through the castle, and it's the same old stuff. It's just a side-scrolling platforming. You know, they even have its own genre name as the Metroidvania. So it's just timeless, and you can still get that. I don't know. Some of the retro games would be kind of hard to get into now, but you can definitely still get that one and the Resident Evil games. But I don't know about Blood Omen or Alone in the Dark. But yeah.
Very, very good.
Well, the most terrifying game I ever played, guys, was Zombie Ate My Neighbors, you know.
Are you sure it wasn't Plants vs. Zombies?
Zombies Ate My Neighbors is actually just a comedy. It's not. I wouldn't even really consider it a horror game because it's goofy.
Yeah, like that medieval game that just got a reboot. That was goofy too.
Yeah.
I've still, even though I got stuck and got mad at it, I'm still playing Alien Isolation, and that game is solid. That holds up like a motherfucker.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, you can still tell it's like older gen graphics, but they're like really good for older gen graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's a game that will put your blood pressure through the roof, man.
That alien is pissing me the fuck off because I'm stuck at a part where he's going to come out as soon as I open the door. I know he's going to come out as soon as I open the door because I played this part like 30 times now.
Yep.
And I don't have enough time after I open the door to switch to where. So there's a part where I got to use. I just upgraded my plasma cutter and I got to cut open the door.
Yeah.
And there's a android in there. And I got to open the door. I got to find a way around the android and the alien at the same time. As soon as I open the door, the alien pops down into that room that I just opened, and I don't have enough time to pull out my flamethrower
to scare it off.
Yeah, so I mean, I just got to find a way to, I don't know, maybe draw it out somewhere else.
Come from a vent in the roof. I'm trying to think of which part this is.
Yeah, it comes from a vent in the ceiling.
I think you just have to run and get to a locker and hide at that part. If I remember correctly, that's what I did. If it's the part I'm thinking of, if there's a room, if there's an adjacent room that you can run into and get in a locker or hide under a table or something where it doesn't see you, because that's what I had to do.
Yeah, I'm like a little over halfway through the game, and I really want to get through it, but so far, it's a lot of fun. The story is amazing. I love there's a little flashback where you're going through the big U-shaped spaceship.
Yeah.
That part had me on pins and needles the whole time.
Yeah. When that team, they shut off the SOS signal.
Yeah.
Which would explain why the people in Aliens didn't really get an SOS signal. So... like the Nostromo did also.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that game's great. I agree. I played through it a couple of times. There's no way I'm trying it on hard. It's already hard enough.
Right.
Dude, I'm playing it on easy. What are you talking about?
I played it on normal. That's what I did. I always play everything on normal in that game. Just, man, the ending gets a little difficult. I mean, it gets hard too. You just have to persevere. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, people who get through the whole game without, what was it? What's the trophy? Not dying once? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, you freaking deserve that trophy. That's all I have to say.
Right.
Because, man, the game is hard.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the AI is not stupid in this game. The alien will walk out of a room, and the AI learns that if you are using the tracker a lot, then the alien will learn how to just stand still. And then you'll walk out of the room, and it's just standing there waiting. And it will get you. It's insane.
Oh yeah, and if you're using it while an enemy's around, they'll hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Alien Isolation. I played a little bit, but I haven't like really dove into it just because I know I've said it before, but when I play like horror games by myself, I just get that bad anxiety and whatnot. I'm just like, I'm going to end up giving myself a heart attack. So I just can't do it. But it is what it is. A couple other ones I just kind of wanted to bring up. Obviously, if you're into multiplayer games, you know, if you're kind of burnt out on Friday the 13th, the game, I mean, there is Predator Hunting Grounds. I mean, there isn't a lot there right now, but there is. It's a fairly good concept, I think, at least, and I think it's a lot of fun if you're playing with other people. But it's again one of those things where it's better playing with people you know versus playing with other people. So
Yeah,
I definitely suggest that one. And then obviously Last of Us, we talked about that with the show coming up. Last of Us is a great single player game, obviously a great story. If you got
that
Last
game
of
gets
Us.
scary too in some parts.
Yeah.
And that can be pretty hard too, depending on what mode you're playing on.
Yep.
And the second one got some flack for, I think, stupid reasons. I think it's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
That
I still
definitely
haven't played that one yet.
It's good, man. It's really good.
I hear that it is good. I just haven't taken the time to buy it.
Yeah.
I know it's like on sale on PlayStation Store now. It's like $30. But I was like, Vinegar Syndrome, man. I just vinegar.
That's the priority right now.
Well, yeah, the game's not going anywhere, so
Yeah.
the longer you wait, the cheaper it's going to be.
Exactly. And honestly, you might as well just wait till the PS5 and then just buy it and get it.
I do know what happens to Joel, so I'm kind of like not looking forward to that. Yeah.
Oh, well. The last one I just wanted to bring up, and this is kind of one that came out of nowhere. We've talked about it a little bit already in previous episodes and even a little bit today, but Phasmophobia, because that is like a game that's kind of in development right now, but you can get it through Steam, and it's so much fun. It's a 4-player game, ghost hunting. I mean, you can't get much better than that. And it's so fucking freaky, and it's so well worth it. And it's one of those games you can just kind of jump in and jump out of. It doesn't take much time to play around, and it's a lot of fun. And as they add more content and get more of these bugs out, I think it's just going to go up from there. I think it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, the only issue with that game is it's only on PC, so that cuts out a lot of gamers that don't have a gaming PC to play it.
Yep.
But honestly, the game's not super demanding. You can play it on some low end hardware, and it's a lot of fun. Like you said, we've played a few times together. It gets really scary. Yeah, they keep adding content, or not content, but they keep updating it, and I can see this game getting a lot bigger and coming to console as long as it keeps succeeding the way it is.
Yep.
I'd say that's probably one of my top picks for someone to buy for a gift for a multiplayer game.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know what else I would pick that's new other than that. For single player, my top pick would probably be Doom Eternal.
Yep. I'd probably agree with that. I mean, because
unless you haven't played The Last of Us Part 1, that would be my absolute top pick.
Mm-hmm. Which is a good one too. Yeah, for me, honestly, with the multiplayer games, I would suggest Phasmophobia. I mean, it's cheap too. I mean, it's like $13. Either that, or if you want something on console, Dying Light. Honestly, I mean, it is a 5-year-old game, but seriously, they're still putting out content for it. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with a company that's still putting out content on a 5-year-old game and taking care of the game. And it's a lot of fun if you're playing with other people. It's the maps are huge. There's just so much to do in that game. And even 5 years later, it's still a blast to play. So those are definitely the two that I would suggest, especially for multiplayer. Single player, like I said, I'm not much into single player games as much. Obviously, Resident Evil 7 is great. Alien Isolation is great as long as you can handle it and your ticker doesn't stop on you. Until Dawn would probably be my top single player one, though, in my personal preference. But
which one did you say?
Until Dawn.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, it's a solid pick.
Yeah,
I guess for me, it's because I grew up with it and I still play it. I'm just gonna view just the Resident Evil franchise, just the series. I love playing the games. They're creepy, atmospheric. I just enjoy them for what they are, and yeah. So I would just pick that franchise as my. Because really, Castlevania was first, but Resident Evil was the story is what gripped me in Resident Evil. The T virus and all the BOWs, and then you got the characters, that you play through multiple games. Like plays Jill and Chris in the first game. Jill comes back in the third game. You got Claire and Leon in the second game. Leon comes back in the fourth game. Chris and Claire come back in Code Veronica. Then Chris in Resident Evil 5, and then both Leon and. I mean, just the character. It's like Sherry Birkin. She's a little kid in Resident Evil 2, and then she's an adult in Resident Evil 6, and you play as her as a main character in that too. So I mean, I like that. The continuing characters and stuff, and then you got the new characters like in Resident Evil 7. With Ethan and his wife, and then we got Village. So coming up, so that's my pick. It's just that franchise right there, overall.
All right. Very cool. And we would love to know what you guys think as well. As always, you can always reach out to us through our social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at CLS Podcast. We do hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. It was a lot of fun this month talking about just different horror Blu-rays, comics, collectibles, and now video games. I had a lot of fun kind of taking a break from doing reviews and kind of looking at some of this stuff. We hope that you guys enjoyed that too. But before we go, are there any final words of wisdom before we leave?
Yeah, if you're going to play a game that's single player and it's really scary and it bothers you, one, wear a diaper, especially if you're playing Alien Isolation. Two, and phone a friend, say, hey, just text me every now and then, make sure I didn't have a heart attack and die.
That's just gonna say, if you're playing a game that you're afraid of, make sure you turn off all the lights, lock yourself in the closet. Then I can break into your house and steal your stuff. That's what I want you to do. That's the. Jesus. I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
Oh, that's good.
I'm playing. I kid, guys. I kid.
But are you?
Do it. Yes, I kid.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys checking out this week's episode, and we will see you guys next week.
This episode of the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast is brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. Check us out at www.clspodcast.com or join in the conversation on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at CLS Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, campers.